we are out in front of the Heart of Oklahoma Expo Center. Final night of our weekend here in Shawnee for the Manufacturers Throwdown. Tonight, the 18T is going to be rolling off from 5th for the 40-lap finale with a good payday and some good hardware on the line. Just inside that building right there is where it's all going to take place. They really do have a neat setup here between the buildings, the pit area, the racetrack. I really do enjoy the on-track action here in Shawnee just because it's different than what we have at home. You have a banked racetrack with a cushion. You have the bottom, the middle, the top. You can kind of move around. When it's right, it really does put on a good show. But we're going to head inside now. Jimmy Elledge, my car owner, crew chief, is finishing getting the 18T ready. Got the house carts all dialed in, get our setup fine-tuned. And yeah, basically we're just hanging out all day. They have 13 A-main events to run. They did the Alphabet Soup earlier, and we're the last of those 13 A-main events with the 500 Open class being the premier division. So we're going to hang out for our time, and we have one job to do. Well, we are closing in on showtime, just itching to get out on track. A lot of hard work this weekend, a lot of grit and grind that our team has had to have. You know, yesterday in our heat race, the first night, our heat race the first night as well. Just not accumulating the most points that we were hoping, and then, having to start a little farther back in both features and having to overcome that, not locking in the first night, and then yesterday driving 6th to the win. So that's where, if you're asking Tanner, like, you're not on the front row, you start 5th, how do you feel about your chances? I feel great. I think we're in a prime position, and in 40 laps, if we can't get to the front, then I don't feel like we deserve to win the race. And honestly, having to run both prelim nights gave us more track time with this car. With us not being a regular, I think that was actually more valuable. That put us in a better position where I think we now are more set up to have an opportunity to win this 40-lap race. So we're going to continue to watch the rest of the lower divisions. Like I said, I hate the waiting around part. Just itching to get in the car and go complete the job and the task that we have at hand. So right before the final race of the night, the 40-lapper, they got out there, they did what we did not want to see starting 5th, which was a massive track prep session. Bottom to top, they tilled up the racetrack, put water on it, rolled it back in, and honestly, worked the track heavier than they had all weekend before the 500 class. So I knew it was going to take some time to burn this thing in and try to get some grooves going so we could pass.
That's here, Holmes from Jacksonville, Oregon. Just want to give a big shout out to QRC and Jimmy Elledge for bringing our karts out here from the West Coast, so you guys enjoy the show.
We'll throw the helmets on. 6 is track. Look at the head and neck restraints.
See you at lap 20.
They can change air pressure. They can grind tires. They can only change a tire if they notify an official, and they will move to the back. What do you got?
I think I'm too tight.
Too tight?
I mean, like I could end up using it in 20 laps, but like right now.
Get there? Yeah.
I don't know. What's it look like?
I mean, you look fine on the top.
No.
I mean, now that you're up there.
Yeah, and maybe we just leave it. Like I'm gonna need the drive, but I just can't go anywhere on the bottom.
You want to move the wing forward? Then you got it. Go back.
Sure. But
The 01 behind you was around the top and making a little bit of ground. But you made better ground on top than he did. But I mean, obviously, there's nobody up there. All right, Dan. Have fun. We'll see you in 20 more laps.
Well, guys, they knew we were here tonight, that's for sure. We started 5th and finished 2nd in tonight's 40-lap finale. Be easy for me to get on here pretty frustrated. I'm proud of our performance. I felt like we did just about everything we could. I wouldn't, you know, I lost a couple spots early just because I was really tight. They did a huge farm before the feature, and that's just, I give a big thumbs down. I don't understand why we farmed the racetrack. You know, we had a awesome track all week, and then I felt like we just kind of, I don't know, we just, basically the track at the end on the last lap of the feature was still better probably than what we qualified on, you know, so it just not really ideal for passing. But anyway, we ran 2nd tonight. Well, guys, we're leaving Shawnee now. We're getting ready to head wide open to Tulsa. Here's a look at the racetrack after the 40-lap feature. Trust me, I don't want to be the guy that's well, one, I obviously never want to bash a racetrack or be an armchair quarterback. Obviously, when you first get out after a race and you don't win, and you know you could have won, there's just kind of frustration. You know how that is. But when you take a second to kind of collect yourself, ultimately the race was what it was. We ran a really good 40 laps. I'm proud of our effort all weekend. I thought we overcame some challenges, you know, some adversity adversity earlier on. What I'm proud of is how good we made our race car. You know, this is out of our normal with Factory QRC, and I think we adapted well, and I think we have the fastest car on the racetrack, you know, lap 30 through 40 in the A main event. And like I said, I left it all out on the line. I mean, I'm not the type to always just pound the cushion, but I really tried, whether it was entering on it, sliding to it, going wide open. Really, I just tried to do anything, because I'm like, I'm not gonna win the race, you know, following the other 15 cars that were on the bottom. I had to just try to keep the top clean myself. So like I said, just a mix of emotions. So instead of me, you know, telling you guys that I thought the track sucked, me telling you guys I was unhappy with the racetrack, or, you know, how things happen, you know, I've never prepped a track before, so I know it's a difficult job. I want to make a suggestion instead, you know, maybe a solution instead of just complaining. It would have been really interesting for those 40 laps how the racetrack would have looked if they wouldn't have even touched it at all. So that would be A. B would be even if they just would have just barely scratched the bottom, barely scratched the top, and then kind of threw a little water on it, almost what they did for the prelim nights. I think that would have allowed us to be racing within the first 10 laps of the feature, and then you have 30 laps to really battle it out instead of, I mean, I really believe we had about 30 to 35 laps of lockdown, and finally under a yellow, you know, we could roll in the top a little bit, and finally the grease and all the stickiness burned off. And this material here is so weird, so like it is sticky and it isn't at the same time, but the bottom ultimately was just so much shorter around. So I really want to see what this play, because I think this is an awesome racetrack. Like I said, I think Shawnee, they got something really cool here. I just want to see what it looks like when it is gut slick to a cushion with a little bit to lean on the bottom, versus like if you were here for all 3 days like I was, you know, I watched how they prepped the racetrack, and they would kind of just, you know, like I said, just keep it alive all weekend. And then the difference, you know, before the open feature, when you seen how much material was actually tilling, it was just it was a significant difference. But anyway, like I said, I don't like to be that guy. I came in second, I ran hard, I felt like we put together a good weekend. Ultimately, we didn't win the race. So thank you to Factory QRC, thank you to Jimmy Elledge. A 7th, a prelim night win, and then 5th to 2nd, and like I mentioned, a 5th to 2nd where we were beating the boards down. 3 and 4 was gnarly. I mean, look at this. Look at how it built up on the wall, but that's just because there's just so much good dirt still. I mean, this looks like qualifying trim. And one more interesting note, I won't keep going on and on, but we really did not wear a single tire all weekend. Don't get me wrong, for weekly racing, that is good. It's awesome to have a racetrack that doesn't eat tires. I'm not saying that this place should eat tires, but I feel like I mentioned, if it was just a little harder, slicker to a cushion, slowed down the pace, and there was just a little bit of tire wear, you know, I want to see what Shawnee looks like in that condition, because I think it would race like a beauty. So anyway, that's my suggestion. Thanks to these guys for having us here. We're headed to Chili Bowl. We got a week ahead of us, and excited to tackle another year inside that building. So thank you, Shawnee. We will see you next year, or see you next time we are in the area. Deuces.